you will see many things coming up. Also that we give more information about those soft features in the dashboard for reporting, how many people are involved in the processes and how many comment. And also this gives kind of gamification incentives that you might say, okay, here are 500 euro extra for the department that gives the most feedback about processes. You can now start doing such approaches and people will change in how they see the process. From one thing that 10 years ago was something that happened somewhere in a dark cellar behind the copy room and everybody hated the guy doing it, you're now becoming part of a corporate change. And this is a little bit my vision of it.
Welcome to the New Process Podcast. Learn all the tools, methods, and best practices combined with people, emotions, and a human-centric mindset to rethink your process and push it to the next level. And here is your host, Mirko Kloppenberg.
Yeah, welcome to episode 17 of the New Process Podcast. Today, we'll explore if aiio is a human-centric BPM tool. Therefore, I'm speaking with Rolf-Dieter Proch and Jobst von Heintze. Rolf is head of sales at aiio. He looks back on many years of experience in the sales area. He has been in sales since his apprenticeship and has one passion above all, looking for solutions together with the people and turning these solutions into something tangible. His hobbies are running, traveling, and history. Jobst is Chief Marketing Officer at aiio. He is aiio's sales genius and at the same time the poet behind the aiio marketing philosophy. He likes to play the guitar and he's a photographer. The company aiio was founded in 2002 already. It is located in the city of Magdeburg. It has grown to over 350 customers with about 700,000 users of aiio and their second tool Quam, which is an integrated management system. So in this episode, you'll learn more about the underlying philosophy of aiio, how to model and how to access processes in aiio, how the tool contributes to the new process principles to inspire people for processes, and what is on their roadmap for the future development of aiio, as well as how the pricing model looks like and how to test aiio. And at the end of the episode, they are also having a special offer for the new process community to start with aiio. So stay curious and enjoy today's episode with Rolf and Jobst.
And now, let's start to rethink processes.
Yeah, welcome, Jobst and Rolf. It's great to have you here in the New Process Podcast. Thank you very much for accepting this challenge to introduce your tool to our listeners. So I'm really looking forward to what is coming up. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. Looking forward as well.
Yes, yeah, great.
Very much.
Great to have you on this flight. And then let's check right in. So what do you prefer when checking into an aircraft? Aisle or window seat?
Yeah, I like window seat because window, I can see the landscape, I can look out and I see, I love it. If I come, for example, I'm coming here from the north, coming back to Hamburg and I see it when the aircraft is coming more and more down and see nearer and nearer, there's this building and coming closer and closer and I love it. That is why I like to sit at the windows.
Okay, so when traveling for holidays, I would prefer the same, but on business trips, I normally like the aisle because I can quickly come in and be the first out, and so that's why I'm the aisle guy.
Yeah, great. I understand that. And Jobst, what is your favorite airport?
My favorite airport actually is, I would say, Koh Samui.
Really? Okay.
It's more like still a little bit vacation and almost no airport and lots of nature and place to chill.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Rolf?
Yeah, I like Alicante because Alicante, I was a few times there and this is why I like it because it remembers me sun, beaches, and I can do whatever I want. So this is why I like Alicante.
Yeah, that's great. And then let's get a little bit closer to the topic of processes. So what was the best process you've ever experienced, Rolf?
Yes, of course, there are several, but which I remember is the one, I was involved in processes of a company, some kind of consulting, our tool. And so we spoke about different processes. and especially about sales chances, about leads, about customers, and so on. So to have all these different stages to see, okay, where we start and what is the next step and what do we start with, let's say, sales chances, or do we start with the leads? So this very, very simple things to see it on the process and to speak together and to discuss it, and then to say, okay, just to put this part, which is, let's say, leads, not at the beginning, let's change it. And that made a huge, huge difference. And this is something what I remember very, very often, that so simple things in a process can make a huge difference. And so this is why I say this could be the best process I remember.
Okay, cool. Jobst, what about you?
Okay, my process again is a little bit in the middle of the 90s. I had the big luck and opportunity to take part in an event by the American Film Institute, and there was a kind of an evening reception done by Apple. And today I know it was totally orchestrated. It was really done by process. Everything was planned. But at that time, I had no understanding about it, and I just enjoyed it, and everything happened. And it felt like total freedom. But at the end of the day, it was a perfect event, a perfect reception with everything. They did their presentations, they did all the stuff. But you as the participant had always the feeling everything happens just by natural flow. And so that's why I would say this was the perfect process I personally experienced, because didn't felt like a process, but in hindsight, it was a perfect process. It was perfectly orchestrated. And this is something that I just want to bring in more processes in the future, or in current doing I'm involved in. Don't make it feel like a process, but stay to this.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's also what I'm trying to push forward, to make it an inspiring experience. Yeah. And don't notice it as a process itself. Yeah, that's super cool. And then let's go deeper into the topic of processes before we talk about the tool. Could you describe your relationship to processes a little bit more?
I will take a phrase what our product manager said once, Tina, she said, and that I was very impressed when I started at aiio and we were speaking about processes. She said, I love processes. I like process. And that is something which described it really, really well. The more I'm involved and the more I'm speaking about process, the more it changed in companies something to see it, and that it helps so much and it makes the work a little bit easier. It changed so much.
Okay. Yeah. So of course, as we here do process managing, work with a lot of clients, the same as Rolf said, also applies to me. But being a CMO here in this company and having the demanding challenge to also create new sales pipelines, new sales paradigms for business to business software, this is also a challenging time and a very process driven approach that we currently do, because you all know, being in a company responsible for process management means still a very tailor-made approach. Every company is different. But on the other side, modern B2B software workflows need to also be very, let's say, focused on streamlining things, and to bring those, let's say, two different pillars together without, let's say, doing so many upscaling work in all the infrastructure is a challenge. To have, on one side, make it a tailor-made solution for every customer, that every customer feels it is his solution, and on the other side have something that can be also sold via the internet by, let's say, smaller companies, by medium, small to medium enterprises, without, let's say, the typical bloated consulting approach. This is one of our challenge that we balance. How do you match this with the sales team? How do you match this with consulting? Are there new ways of organizing consulting? Can you do it only by teams? Is it possible or not? And if possible, how does it change? And this is our ongoing journey here at aiio, also to change the process of selling a B2B tool online.
Okay, that's an interesting approach. Yeah, great. You already mentioned the name of the tool. It's aiio, as I learned. Do I pronounce it the right way? Aiio, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we spell it in another way because many people think it is written with Y, but it is spelled A, double I, and O.
So where does that name come from?
Yeah, so original, it's a kind of an acronym of artificial intelligence input output, because this is the final aim. So if you have a look at this product now, which by the way came out to the public in May this year, so we are talking about very young product, but it's not the only one, but it's the youngest branch of the products that we have here at Lintra aiio. So it's artificial intelligence is the final aim. So in the moment we are just focusing on having, let's say, traditional process management approaches where you can draw your process, you can connect it to resources, to locations, have all the stuff that you need. But we are heavily working on connecting everything you do there to, let's say, smart advisor technology that you, let's say, can extract something, because the USP of aiio now is that it's in M365 and you can do process management on a budget in this very popular commodity platform. But at the end of the day, hopefully by early next year, you will see the first benefits in smart advisor technology, that you have kind of insights into your processes, how you can optimize, what is good, what could be improved. And that's why aiio. We focus on the inputs and outputs and give you AI tools to make it better.
Okay, this already describes the underlying philosophy of the tool?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So very, very high level. Yeah. So, but today, if you go to the free test, you will see mostly kind of integrated into the M365 platform and the Microsoft platform, a process management tool where you just connect to everything there is. It makes it easy. And another philosophy is to move, like we always say, move process management out of the ivory tower. But later we will talk about how we see change in the market. And this is something that we realized people don't have, even if they would love to have a very complex system that connects everything to everything, they don't have the time and they don't have the resources, and also mostly not the resources to do it at that level. And so they came the decision to have something that is very easy to use, where you can just embark everybody in the company and not just some specialists doing process management, because we think processes and quality is for everybody and not just for few. This is another kind of the philosophy of the product.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, let's say also it has to be very simple to involve nearly all people, to have a simple tool what everybody can use, and not to study it for a long time to use it. This is also
another way to put it is sometimes to bring that classical top-down approach of quality management, one quality manager telling everybody this is how we do it, to, let's say, a bottom-up approach where everybody involved in processes has every time the possibility to comment, to give feedback. Sometimes we call it also kind of an audit 24/7 approach. Not just once a year, there's a guy who's checking, is this how we do it? It's checked in everyday doing. And so you get more agility, and the benefit for the process manager itself is you can make people bring you work. It's like in a traditional world, you sometimes conceived yourself as the one-man show. You're playing banjo, have the drum on your back, and then playing mundharmonika. You had to do everything on yourself. And now you become the conductor of a big orchestra. You just give tasks out, get something back, and form it to a symphony. So this is more like the marketing pitch for it. But actually, this is how we conceive it.
That's a nice picture. Yeah, cool. Okay. You already said it's part of, or it's integrated into Microsoft 365, but how does the interface look like?
Yeah, so I could visually describe it, but the easiest part for the viewers would be to head over to the site and test it. But to give you just kind of a philosophical approach, Microsoft itself published what it's called Fluent UI. It's the visual language that you are aware of all the tools that you have if you use Microsoft tools. And we as developers decided to use it. Maybe for, let's say, a die-hard designer, it might be, I have to use something that was designed by a different person. But this is for the user good news for let's say ergonomic cases. We have seen there was a lot of research done by Asana for their products and also for Microsoft, and they found that knowledge workers today switch between 7 to 10 applications a day. And by just thinking, oh, save is here on the bottom left, and then otherwise it's called sichern on top right, even those small things to switch your mind creates mental exhaust. And that's why we decided to make it as close as possible to the Microsoft look and feel, because this reduces mental exhaust and increases the acceptance. I don't know if you have ever tried to bring a new tool into a company. Normally, you get a group of very enthusiastic stakeholders. Yeah, we found a great tool. And then you go to your workforce and you say, oh, just another tool. I don't want to. And aiio is a little bit kind of a sneak approach to that. They don't realize where aiio starts and Microsoft ends. And so it makes things easier for them and also helps them to be more productive.
Okay, just an add-on question there. Is it then also integrated into Microsoft Teams, for example? Because I just saw that in other companies.
Yeah, so we have a dedicated Teams app, which is in the moment focusing on the task. Like you see in a bottom-up approach, there's a lot of tasks going on, and Teams is the place in most companies where task management is done. And this is the main focus of the task management today, and get information. And of course, this looks like natural part of Teams, and you can. It's for free if you're an aiio user, and you can just download it, install it, and then it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And add on to Teams.
Yeah, that's cool. And now with regards to mapping processes, how do you map processes in aiio? What are the different levels there? How do the process maps look like? How do the detailed process descriptions look like?
Yes, so this is the part where we just stayed very close to what is currently in demand out there, because we see the disruptive innovation approach in aiio in different fields than just inventing another language to map things, because people are used to process maps as they are, and people are also used to BPMN language. So we offer them both in a way you as a process manager would expect them. It's just like most of the tools do it. That I admit it's the least level of innovation that we have, but it's by design, because this, if we just would design for some fancy new 3-dimensional stuff that's going on there, everybody would need kind of a, let's say, 2 weeks or 2 months onboarding to learn it. And then again, it would let's say, work against the benefits I told you earlier. To bring quick acceptance means also for this entry point to make it quite normal. You just, as you can draw your process map, and then you map your processes that you draw to those, and then you can filter and find something out. And filtering also is something that we just make more close to the way you would expect from Microsoft in the list views and in the side panel view. It's like you have seen on maybe Project Online. So it's this feeling. If you know Project Online, you would be very accustomed to how we do it in aiio.
Okay. And which kind of notation are you supporting? Like BPMN 2.0, or is there a specific one?
Yeah, so we decided for a subset of BPMN 2.0, because also again for make it as broadly acceptable as possible. This is, but I have to say we have a two-tier approach. The one of the USPs of aiio also is that beside you as a professional process manager, or let's say the guys in a company who had some knowledge about BPMN could use it right away, as you would expect in a subset. We are not comparable to, let's say, other, let's say, more enterprise driven applications that have the full set of, let's say, 50 to 60 shapes, because we don't think the guy on the production line would really understand what's happening there. Again, this is more the ivory tower thing, like we call it. We have a subset that works for, let's say, most of the people have, let's say, 1 week course, and then you can use it. But there's even a step up front. If you just, as a process manager, this comes a little bit from feedback that we receive from bigger companies. And one process manager of a, let's say, 10,000 plus company once told me, if you think that I'm, as the quality manager, know everything about the process there, it's not possible. I know this process is happening, and this is the guy who knows about it. And I just want to create very short form of entry. You say, this is the process, this is where it takes place. Maybe I have just some documents I attach and then say, okay, guys, take care of it. And maybe just give me some input. So if you get me all the input, fine, then we can do it right away. Or if you have some input, then we make one workshop online and then we are done. And this is what aiio also offers. And there you have kind of a very, I sometimes call it sticky note language, where I just sort your thoughts in a kind of a tree. First, this happens, and if this lamp is blue, I do that, and if the lamp is green, I do that. For let's say more the people in the company who are not interested in so much of the nerdy stuff we love so much as we watch this podcast, obviously.
So how does the notation on the detailed level look like when you're mapping processes with roles, activities, and so on?
Yes. So again, this so just head over and take a look. I can describe. It's just you draw it like in the center of the screen. You have your kind of drawing area, and then if you click something like you would expect in a Microsoft world, everything, I have to switch it to the side. From the right side, there's a panel coming up, like you, let's say you have seen in Teams, or you know it from SharePoint Online or Project Online. And then you have kind of all the meta information where you can just give it some extra description, where you can link the peoples and the roles and the departments to it. And we have let's say a fourth group that doesn't exist in this way in the Active Directory as in the Microsoft world. We call it work groups. This is the option that sometimes bigger customers ask us, okay, we have, let's say, the two stakeholder groups. One is the group that has to think about if this is, let's say, technically correct. And there's also another group that thinks about semantics. Is this like we want to model it in our company? Is this according? And then you can also group them into work groups. And this is later good for approvals, but which you also can just trigger from the side, and also for, let's say, sorting the stuff. And yeah, of course, you can draw swim lanes and group everything there. But if you not prefer using swim lanes, you can also use it without it, which is, let's say, some nice feature for smaller companies or for a more lean approach. The same goes for RACI or Raki. You have a site-wide decision that you can make. I want to use it or I don't want to use it, because this is one learning from our other tool, Quam, that where in most companies, they are just don't care so much about Raki like we would hoped for. So they are very happy to not have, let's say, those extra empty fields on every process. And so we just can hide it. And the last thing that is really a USP and draws the connection to the M365 worlds, we have two additional options. Either you can link directly from a process to something happening outside, like a SharePoint website collection. If you have, let's say, a decent description, you just call it like, say, organized meeting, and you have a decent, you have a very detailed description in SharePoint Online, how everything is to set up and checklists and all the stuff. You can link directly there. Or another thing is, if you have kind of a document describing thing, kind of a work description, you can link directly from the process there. So we don't have, let's say, duplicate housekeeping in aiio. We just link to the stuff that already exists anywhere else and just are the brain of how the things work together in the process.
Okay, yeah, thank you for the explanation there. Then let's have a closer look onto two different use cases. So the first one would be, imagine I'm a process modeler now and I want to create a new process. How do I proceed? What do I do?
Yeah, so first you would just say new process, and then you have 30 seconds. Actually, it takes 30 seconds just to have kind of the what we all call in German Projekt Stammdaten, so central data of this. How is it called? In which department it takes place, or who is the process owner? Yeah, so you have to know that, because this will be the guy who is responsible for all the rest. And then are there any documents I already know are related? You could add, but it's not. It's optional. It's not mandatory. And then the fourth thing that is mandatory is in which process group is it? Is a support process, or is it? What is it? Yeah, so you map it to your process map, and then you have two options. Either you just said fire and forget. I want the process owner. I just decided to do the rest for me. He gives all the feedback, fills everything in there, takes care of that. Or you just click model process, and then some graphic modeler is opening up where you can just BPMN style create this process for you. And if you can use the thing, we try to improve the work speed for that. So let's say if you know how this process is happening, maybe 5 to 10 minutes later, you are ready to send it for approval, which is also integrated into in aiio. And there's also let's say a two-step approach. Small to medium-sized companies normally don't have those fancy approval workflows where, let's say, multiple stakeholders, multiple departments want to approve it. If you don't send it to approval and just approve, you have approved it for yourself as a process manager, and then it's checked into the system with let's say versioning like 1.0 in this case. Or if you're in a bigger company and you have those approval workflows, you have, let's say, many kind of a metrics where you say, okay, I want to have this person give it. He has to, as is mandatory that this person okays it, or you can send it to a company, the department of the company, and say, okay, if one person of this department says it's okay for me, or it's kind of a quality majority. So this is how it would. But there's a video online, you can see it in detail. At the end of the day, we received the feedback that this is quite straightforward, and we have shown it to small to medium-sized companies. They use it very much and say it works for me. And to our enjoyment, also a very big, let's say, company with over 50,000 employees also said, "Oh, this looks like it's enough for us." And so this sounds for us like a good news that we have created something that works for most of the people on the planet Earth. So hopefully, give it a try and can comment back if you think I just did marketing or
would be really interesting to find out if the listeners could follow what you just explained, because for me it definitely makes sense how you described it verbally, and that's the challenge in the podcast, to describe something which you can normally see and click and touch somehow. Very good here. And now let's switch the perspective and imagine I'm an employee, a user working somewhere in the organization, and now I want to look up a specific business process to learn how I can execute this one. How do I proceed? What do I do?
Imagine we have really different ways to find the process, to see, okay, what I'm responsible for, and to see where is my process at least. And imagine you start our, let's say, web app you started, or the Teams app. And then first I see the dashboard, and there I see where I'm involved, where I have tasks, and there I can see basic things of my processes. And the second one is on the left side. There I see on the screen, there I see very simple a few where I can see the processes, I can see tasks, go on it and say tasks. I can see on processes, I look and I go in the next step. I have the possibility to see all processes. And then on the right side, what Jobst also was describing, it is all really in the logical way of Microsoft. So I can see on the right side again a filter if I want, and then I can filter whatever I want. It is so powerful and easy to say, okay, I want to see the status of the processes. I want to see the department. I want to see the role, and so on. So it is so powerful that I can filter it very easy with a few clicks and can find my processes. And then I can go into the processes. For example, let's say what I described before, some sales process or a process, how to use my CRM system. For example, in our company at aiio, we make it is so easy to show someone the process. For example, with onboarding, as you said, an employee wants to know, okay, how was the step? He told me once where. So I signed the process, and that guy can go into the processes, and every document, every step can be, if I want it, If I don't want it, you don't need in each company to describe each step, you know it. But if I want it, and I want to sort it a little bit, I say, okay, this is the process. I can show it to an employee and he can see it, including, okay, this is the first step. This is the second step. And here are the documents. And here's a link. For example, we did it directly to a CRM system. And even if I can do it, if I want to do it, then it goes, for example, to the step, okay, to show me the offers. So I can directly go on it. And then I say, okay, what is the next step? And so on. And this is how it works. I hope I could describe it also for you, Mikko, a little bit.
Yeah. May I add one philosophical thing here also? Because when talking to customers, we always found that it, and maybe the audience could add more, but we see the mainly two things that describe a search scenario. One thing is I know what I'm looking for. Maybe like travel expenses. I have to, let's say, supply my travel expense stuff to financial. How do I do that? I type it in and find it. And this is in the M365 world mainly a part for SharePoint Online. Normally, if you know that it exists, you find it as a document, and this document then relates back to the process if you're interested. But mostly, since you know there's a document, you know what to do with it. So the second part, which is more the focus of aiio, is you're an electrician in a company and never have repaired line one compression technology. And the electrician who normally does it left the company or is off sick. And one guy comes to, hey, you have to do it. Yeah. And you would never have the idea, what should I do? You don't know what documents and how to do it. And here comes aiio in. Then you go to the process and aiio is more like, let's say, on the level of a descriptive part, how you do that approach. So I wouldn't say aiio helps in both scenarios, but it's made for the task that you don't know exactly what to do, and aiio is helping you to fulfill the task. Do more with less is kind of the philosophical thing. You have less employees in your company, you have less resources, you have less time, and aiio helps you to achieve more with them in less time and make process usable. This is the approach that Rolf also described so brilliantly on the CM side. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think I have a good idea now about how the tool looks like. But I definitely will have a closer look onto it afterwards because it's super interesting there. But with regards to new process principles, I'm researching a lot on how to rethink processes, on how to get to a more human-centric process management approach. And there, one of the principles is to involve the people working in the process into the work on the process. So how does aiio support this principle to involve the people?
Yeah, this is, I will answer because we have something, we saw it on the control in Stuttgart at the exhibition. There was a exhibition control where we were also part of it. And there we got a lot of feedback. One of the best comments we got back were the comments. We can involve people. They can see, for example, let's go to the CRM process that I look at it. And one of the employees said, yeah, this is good, but there's something we forgot, or I would do it in this way, or whatever. Then they can make directly, also on a easy way, also completely integrated in the logical way of a Microsoft Office 365 Word, and to really push a button to type in. And then we made another thing, a function to just make a comment, to make it also anonymous if I wish it. So, and this is something I think we can involve much more people, because if you can do it anonymous, it is sometimes, some people are different, and some people are more shy and they don't want that their name is on their comment, and they think maybe it is not so right, or it is wrong. So they want to give it, but they don't want to show their name, or they are afraid about if it is a little bit more top down. maybe a little bit astray of someone who says, that was not good or whatever. So this I think a very, very interesting tool. And at least it makes also fun to make comments and to say, look, what it's about. And you see it changes. And this is, I think, also one of what we like, to have really fun and to involve people, and not only to involve the how do we say in English, participants? Participants, thank you. And to involve them and to make them as that they can also create a little bit within, because today the processes are not really ready. And I have one process for 3 years. It is more dynamic today, and it changes a lot. And this is why I think only one manager can't create all the processes today. It is not possible anymore. And this is why it is so important to have those, to involve the people and to have to give them the possibility to make comments, to say something. And this also to make it anonymous. I think it helps to transform companies into the, let's say, new world.
Yeah, very good. I love this approach of creating this transparency and allow participation there, and make it public, visible if the people comment. That's very good. A human-centric approach. Yeah, cool. Thank you. And another new process principle is about disrupting established processes, not destroying, taking, really questioning what is there and building something new out of it. How does aiio support this principle to disrupt established processes?
Yeah, so I could directly connect to what Rolf described as a comment function, where everybody, and even this means the just the viewer license. You don't need any expensive licenses. Everyone can do it. I think this is also one thing that goes on the road to a cultural change, and this is the big thing that we see happening there. And with aiio, we want to be part of that journey. We are not finally there yet, but I think aiio is made to change the corporate culture or adapt to a change that's happening. So if you just imagine you're coming as a new let's say a person directly from studying into a company, and normally it felt a little bit like joining a motorcycle club. For 5 years or 10 years, you just have to do something for the big management, and you get feedback from many HR guys. They say young people are not willing to do so anymore. They come as clever people into company, want to bring their ideas, want to be heard. And again, here, aiio has a big chance, not only just by commenting, which is, let's say, the most obvious thing, but also by introducing the concept of me as a process manager. I just want to hear from them how they would think, let's say after 6 months of onboarding, how they rate our processes. Maybe they have some ideas, because like Steve Jobs said, we don't hire clever people to do them what to do. We hire them that they tell us what to do. And this is also a part that aiio can be a part of. We don't let's say, bold enough to say, you will change the corporate culture. This would be just too much marketing. But we are a quite good fit in a company culture where you changing your perspective of involving all the people. And if I talk to the C-suite, I always say you do yourself also a favor, because if you involve the people, you just create in those heavy times where people are job hopping. Also, you create a feeling this is a company worth working for, because they value my opinion, and you can again do more with less. If you just overload your department of process management, quality management to do all the stuff, you might end up with, let's say, just 30 to 40, maybe 50% of what is possible. But if you involve everybody in quality management, you can help them, because they can achieve more, and more quality management means better quality. And this means for you in the C-suite, a better bottom line, because better quality always is good for the bottom line. And so this is kind of, let's say, where we see us a little bit part of the big gear now shifting towards a new corporate culture. And so you will see many things coming up also that we give more information about those soft features in the dashboard for reporting, for the C-suite, how many people are involved in the processes and how many comment. And also this gives you at the end of the day also kind of gamification incentives that you might say, okay, here are 500 euro extra for the department that gives the most feedback about processes. You can now start doing such approaches and people will change in how they see the process. From one thing that 10 years ago was something that happened somewhere in a dark cellar behind the copy room and everybody hated the guy doing it, you're now becoming part of a corporate change. And this is a little bit my vision of it.
That's great. Yeah. I love that you have this on the radar as well, not just talking about software and processes, but also thinking about culture. That's cool. Thanks for these insights. Is there anything else in terms of rethinking processes that our listeners should know about aiio?
In the moment, we start to also make it more connected to Power Automate, because we have seen some early adopter clients doing interesting stuff with connecting, let's say, our process to their Power Automation workflows, and so we will just by autumn. I think you will see just public accessible API where you just can grab the content of a process and do amazing stuff with it. Whatever. So we might not have the idea what will be clever people come up with this, but so it gives you, let's say the easiest thing is grab a process and create a to-do list. So everything happens according to a given process. Let's say doing a daily meeting based on processes, that nothing is forgotten and everything is documented for the next audit. But also there are many other interesting things we see outside. But I think that this opening up the API will be the next big move that we do, and we are not so aware about this happening so much in the market right now, because traditionally, if you're a tool supplier, I always describe it, you build an island, invite tourists, and then destroy all the boats so nobody can leave your island. So, but we will have an island with lots of boats for every people to enjoy full rides to the other islands in the future.
Very good. Okay. So you already talked a little bit about the future, but taking that to a broader stage, what trends do you see developing in the market of the BPM tools right now? What is coming up in next years there?
Yeah, I think it will democratize the companies itself. It will the people, as we said before, it will. And we see it, of course, in some traditional branches, it takes a little bit longer time, and other branches, as IT, for example, I think they're a little bit more faster, but it will help. It will be more transparent. And I'm really happy about it, that it will be, like this, more transparent, more the people are involved. They can take part of many things. We said it, I think, before in some parts of this conversations, is that the ivory towers are going less and less, hopefully, in the future. And this is what I see, and I think, I think this is maybe something what I think where it is going more and more. And what I see also is that let's say the big or small companies, it doesn't matter. They are more and more thinking about processes and process tools, and we have they're really different companies. Some companies you're speaking about and say, okay, it is not our priority list. But now the companies are more and more, and they're coming they're coming up more, a little bit more and more up in the priority list, that they say, it is very important. It is very important. This is coming more and more. Yeah.
But adding to that, I think the angle is also shifting. While when we talk, I talk to many partner companies out there who are business process consultants, and most of them describe me a shift in the let's say structure companies work with processes. Let's say 5 to 10 years ago, the process manager was the guy responsible to make the auditor the audition that was taking once a year happening a success. He was responsible for making this only guy happy. Today we see a move towards employing more what's called digital process managers. So this is more people who are responsible to make process work for the company, make process add something to the bottom line. Because many C-suite guys are asking, hey, if we just pay for this ISO 9001 audit, all the norms out there, what's in for me? And we see a shift toward that you have a very KPI driven or PPI driven culture where you want to measure the performance of a process. That's also in the light of process automation, which is a total different beast, but also in the very human-centric processes we focus more with aiio on. You will see that you try to improve them. Again, like I said it's the third and last time, it's do more with less. And this is something that's also happening in the market from our experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I can fully support that. That's exactly what I'm seeing out there. So a lot of people who already thought about processes are now going to a higher maturity level, start managing the process and really getting the benefits out of it than just having documentation there to survive an audit.
Yeah.
You know, that's not what I have in mind when talking about processes. That's so true. So what is on your development roadmap for the aiio tool itself?
Yeah, so like I said so since aiio is a SaaS software, you have, let's say, 2 to 3 updates a week. So every here and there a new button pops up and something. But the next major release you will see will be along with our participation in the Process Management Summit in Vienna in November. You will see kind of the next big iteration, and it's mostly about user interfaces and bringing more feature completeness to, let's say, those people coming from a traditional approach and want not just to reinvent everything. They just want to, let's say, not revolution, they want evolution. So this is more aimed for that audience. But shortly after that, I just mentioned the API world is coming into aiio. We also have an API approach yet, but it will be much stronger. You can tightly integrate it with all the other tools outside there. And in the next, let's say, spring, you will see some improvement for, say, automation task taking place in aiio. So automation is on the roadmap for spring. But if we talk about the aiio way of doing automation, it's not like creating another RPA tool. There are many good tools out there you can use already. So we just want to automate the human beings in fulfilling their task better, and you can have, let's say, a glimpse of that hopefully then by the end of the year, and this will be in production ready format in spring.
Okay, cool. Yeah, looking forward to learn more about that. And now the most interesting question with regards to numbers. What's your pricing model?
Yes, I would tell, of course, the prices are very important. What I saw is that I think we are very cheap. So we are starting with, we have a license model, and we have different, I don't want to go too deep. There are 3 licenses, but it will start for one person, one license, 90 cents to €12.90 to those persons who can everything, who can administrate and so on. And this is per month. And this is, that's it.
Yeah, the main point is in that 90 cents to €12.90. We said that a price shouldn't be the argument that aiio is not happening in a company, because we don't want to be the roadblock of a high investment. So it's fitting into the normal M365 pricing scheme. And let's say a small company might end up with €150 for if they have the right mix. Bigger companies, a little bit, let's say, depends more. It's like between €2 and €3 in let's say median for everybody. So we can go also to a website and have a look at the pricing there. So hopefully price isn't the issue why people decide against aiio.
No, that's true, but it's really important to know about that. And well, that's good. Okay, you already said going to your website would be your recommendation to learn more about the tool. Can I also test it there? And do you have a special offer for our listeners, for example?
So you can test it there, and a special offer I leave now for Rolf to say, but it's very easy. You find it all. It's called Start a Software. You can click on it. You log in with your Microsoft credentials, and let's say 30 seconds later, it should be running on your system. Maybe if your IT administration is a little bit strict, you might have to ask them to give you the permissions. But normally for a normal company, it just takes between 30 seconds to 2 minutes to have your full-fledged aiio for 45 days free of charge. And there's an offer, Rolf, you want to give the listeners.
Yes. On one side, we have it until end of year. We said to give startups possibility to use it for 12 months free. This is one offer for the startups. We think this is something we wanted to do and wanted to help startups, and because I was speaking with a few of startups. I was at some events and we are talking to them. Some are very, very organized and some are very chaotic. And so they said it themselves, that's a cool tool. And so we have a few we were having. So this is one of the things I hope you see it also, or you hear it, that this is one of also a little bit philosophy where we decide, okay, until end of the year, we will offer it to the startups. This is one thing. And now also to your listener, if they are not startups, we will help them also a little bit, especially to your listener. We offer additional, can have the test version for 45 days, we said, and then you get another additional 1 month free. And we make something like an onboarding package, which will be also for free. This is for your listeners.
Depending on the size, this can be several €1,000 value, because it adds up. If you, as a company with 1,000 employees, go for that, it's easily in the mid-range of a four-digit number. So just contact us if you're interested, and we sort the details.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you for this special offer here. That's great. And there was just one question coming to my mind. We already talked about that it's part of Microsoft 365, but what do I do if I'm not a Microsoft customer? Can I still use your application?
Unfortunately, then you have to wait until, let's say, maybe spring or so, because Microsoft is also changing. This is a technical decision. We decided for technical compliance, and since Microsoft is the dominating tool in the B2B world in Europe and also most parts of the world, that we connect to the security mechanisms of Azure, Microsoft hemisphere part. There is no way in the moment to have, let's say, kind of a separate login, but Microsoft also is working on that. I just read in a development announcement that they connect Google and I'm not sure about Alibaba, but about the Google logins to their, let's say, security realm, but this will be happening end of the year. So we are a little bit in the hands of them. And this again then combines everything. You as a user are happy because you can maybe use your Google Work Drive scenarios along with us and use your Google login. But there will be no way, even in the future, if you're not part of one of those big working packages that are around there, either Microsoft or Google Workspace or anything else, that it makes sense for you to use aiio. Because remember, the philosophy of aiio is we just do process management. We don't do document management. We don't do video conferencing or anything, but we connect it to processes. And so that's why you have to use another commodity platform out there. Yeah, but for now, it's Microsoft 365 only.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know. Thanks for this additional information there. Cool. Yeah, I think we nearly made it. So in addition to that, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners before we leave the aircraft?
No, just one thank you from my side to you, Mirko, for creating this marvelous format. So not just us today being here, every once in a while, there are very interesting news you create here, and I would like to thank you for your let's say hard work and creating this format and bringing the whole industry and all the professionals forward to that. And I wish you all the best for developing this new Process Lab format to very big success in the future. So
thank you so much for this feedback, because it's really hard to get feedback via podcast. Yeah, you talk to the people, and then listeners out there listen to the podcast, but only few of them really reach out and provide feedback. And so thank you for this feedback there. And how would you both describe our flight experience with just 3 words? Who would like to start?
I will start. It was easy to start, so there was no disruption between it. It was very funny during the flight, and the landing, I think we are still landing, is very smooth. So it was really, it was a great
and from my side, I would say the future starts now. Also with all the new tools, we are aware we are not the only tool coming up with those ideas. I'm looking forward to see what's happening in the process management world in the next months or years, and also for this format again. Formats like this popping up are also democratizing, like I would say, this thing. And so the future of process management is brighter than ever, I would say, by people getting educated, by guys like you, Mirko, and by tools outside that help people to develop further. And so the future starts now. Time to plan the next flight.
Perfect. Thank you for these closing words, and thank you so much for being part of this episode, for providing the insights, accepting the challenge, and looking forward to the upcoming exchange.
Thank you, Mirko. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks you. Bye-bye.
Let's recap today's new process inspiration.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Rolf and Jobst about aiio. I think they made it already in a good way to describe how the software looks like, but they also promised to provide a video with the 2 use cases you might already know from the prior episode. So on the one hand side, they are going to show how to model processes, as well as how to access these processes from user perspective in aiio. What I find very interesting is the fact that aiio is integrated into Microsoft's 365 and should be, therefore, quite familiar with regards to look and feel for the users. That makes it very interesting for me to have a closer look at aiio. And maybe you would also like to give aiio a try and make use of the kind offer both gave to us at the end of the episode. So in the next episode, I'll be talking to a real process architect to learn more about how life of a process architect looks like. So it's going to be a very hands-on episode with a lot of practical insights into the work of a process architect. And we'll also talk a lot about methods which you can directly apply to manage your own process. So stay curious and rethink your processes. Thank you much for listening. Bye-bye and auf Wiedersehen.
You've been listening to the New Process Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode for more tools, methods, and best practices to rethink your process and push it to the next level. Thank you for listening.
Before you leave, if you would like to get more inspirations on how to rethink processes, I can recommend you to subscribe to the New Process Update, which is my newsletter where I'm sharing not only information on new process podcast episodes, but also on other ideas on how to rethink process and how to inspire people for processes. So if you're interested in that and don't want to miss a thing, then just go to newprocesslab.com/update. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.